Hey guys, it's me Alice, and sorry if my voice sounds very bad right now, and sorry if the recording has any background noises. I am recording this on my phone. If I was a professional, I'd probably have this a lot more better than it is. So I'm gonna just say a little tiny bit of things as if this was a story time, but it's not, because I have somewhat bad memory and only remember things that aren't even important, and yeah, my memory's just bad. Yes, I'm using my OC Umaku. I'm using my OC Umaku because I love her so much. I love her so much. I wish she had fan art, but I'm not gonna be greedy and ask for that. If you don't like her, you can fight me. Video isn't scripted, so I'm probably gonna ramble on about. There was an airplane. This video isn't scripted, so I'm probably gonna ramble about just anything and anything that comes to my mind. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is things I remember I was terrified of. This will be stupid. So number one is skeletons. Oh my god, I already feel so stupid. So back when I was like, let's say 4 or 3, I was in school, 4, 3, or 5, one of those ages. So they were teaching us about skeletons for the human beings. And I remember I hated them. I never wanted to look at them. I remember being ashamed that my last name started with the letter skeleton starts with a S. And every time it would be like a Halloween event where they'd play like the song Spooky Scary Skeletons, I would scream or cry because I did not like skeletons at all, and they were decorating the whole school with them. So that led to some bad fears. I got over it eventually, but I didn't like skeletons back then. Those were a very big fear of mine. Coming at number 2, we have 6. Okay. Hear me out here. So this was a time I'm pretty sure I was 5. My birthday was coming up, and I didn't want to turn 6 because I remember in school back then they would always say the number 666 was the devil's number, and this is kind of still a current thing that's being said. And I was terrified of becoming 6 because I feel like for that whole year alone, when my birthday came back, I would be haunted because I have the number of the devil. This one was pretty simple, and after I became 7, it was clear that nothing was going to happen. I was just going to be 6 for the time being. So I got over that one pretty quickly, but I've always feared the number 6 for as long as I was the age of 6. This one doesn't make sense, but still. Okay. Number 3 is Chuck E. Cheese. Okay. This one seems a little normal because usually when a kid is younger, or just me in general, I was terrified of Chuck E. Cheese, terrified of animatronics in general, and I just never wanted to look at one. And this one at the time didn't make any sense because I was into Five Nights at Freddy's around that time, so it wouldn't make sense to be afraid of Chuck E. Cheese if FNAF had a very similar layout and stuff as Chuck E. Cheese does. I just hated the huge mouse, and due to the newest rumors of Chuck E. Cheese, I kind of don't want to be there anymore. I got over this fear, of course, and I just see Chuck E. Cheese as a place because when you get older, like 13, 12, something like that, you get pretty bored of the place, and you're just there because like a family member or so wanted to have their birthday there, so you just like eat the pizza and play games and get out. It wasn't that bad, and yeah. Before we continue, I forgot to mention the reason I was terrified of them is because I don't know if it was just me, but usually when I went around the Chuck E. Cheese, I felt like they were always watching me, and I know how this is very similar to all the reasons why we don't like Chuck E. Cheese's, but I felt just unnerved when we made eye contact with an animatronic. It just didn't feel right. And at the time, I just didn't like it. And lastly, number 4 is heights. I don't have many fears. I don't believe I do, because the other ones are just way too common, like the fear of spiders, the fear of like random things. Those were common, and I didn't want to mention those. This one is common. The fear of heights is common. But this one just, yeah. And I mentioned this one last is because it's a fear I haven't gotten over yet. Normally, now it's not as bad as it was last time. What am I saying last time? It wasn't as bad as like when I was like 8 to 9. Nowadays, I do things with heights, like roller coasters and things, certain ones. It's just, it feels weird, as if like my stomach dropped or something. It's normal to things, like normal stuff when people are scared of heights. As of now, it's not as bad, but if you ask me to get on like a 2,000 feet roller coaster with you, I will run from you because I don't like being that high in the sky. And this one still doesn't make sense because I remember going to like New York and I went on the Empire State Building. That thing was tall and I enjoyed that very much. I was playing on the roof and not surprisingly, I led over the edge to look down at that long, long way down. That one thing you're not supposed to do when you're afraid of heights, look down. Basically, this one doesn't make as much sense as any of them. Being scared of Chuck E. Cheese, but into FNAF, I still am. Being afraid of skeletons, knowing you have one in your own body, you can't get rid of that. Being afraid of heights, but being on top of a big, big building, just casually playing around like a little child. None of my fears make sense, but overall, they were fears I remember having. I probably have a lot more, but back then I was a child, something along the lines of, "Ooh, I'm not afraid of literally anything. I will do anything. I'm such a brave child. I know, right?" It's complicated. I just didn't like being afraid of anything, so back then I didn't have as much fears as I probably would now. But, yeah, thankfully I got over most of those because they're embarrassing. But I was brave enough to record this and put it here. So, yeah. By the way, this video was not made to make fun of anybody. Not made to make fun of you of anything that you're afraid of. Just, this was my personal version and how I usually would overly dramatic the things I was afraid of. This wasn't made to say like, oh, if you're afraid of heights, don't look down, idiot. That's not, no. I'm not trying to imply that I'm being rude to people with fears. It's just how I remember things I was scared of and what I would do if you made me see it or do it, or you get what I mean. It's just, this video was just made to talk about small things I remember. If you want me to do more like stuff like this, comment down below some things you want me to talk about, and if I remember them, I will try to record something like this. I might make a separate channel for this type of thing. So yeah, bye bye.